My name is Randy Howell, and you're listening to the Faith and Fishing Podcast.
Welcome to the Faith and Fishing Podcast. I'm Cam.
And I'm Robert. In every episode, we're bringing you faith stories and fishing memories from some amazing members of the fishing community.
So join us as we shed a positive light on all things faith and fishing. Hey y'all, welcome back to the Faith and Fishing Podcast. I'm Cam.
Hey, and I'm Robert.
And we've got an awesome returning guest this episode. Y'all clicked on the episode to play it, so y'all already know who it is. But we'll get him introduced in just a second. But first, as always, just a couple of housekeeping things. I wanted to give a shout out to all of y'all that are watching on YouTube. This is and will always be, primarily a podcast. It's out there for the audio listeners, and I personally hate it when a podcast goes to the YouTube platform and you can tell that everything they do is a visual gag. Everything they're doing is all about the visuals. So this will primarily be an audio platform, but I have been keeping up with the analytics on the podcast platform a lot, and I had not been keeping up with YouTube at all. So I just want to give a shout out to all of y'all. I did not realize that we have almost 1,200 views on YouTube. So we are. So that brings, our total episode count in terms of downloads and plays and views to almost 8,000. So excited about that. Thank y'all so much. Means so much to us that you're listening. And just wanted to give y'all a shout out for that. Robert, how's it been going, man?
Oh, it's been going pretty good. It's like a broken record here lately, but ball games and work and now the grass is growing too, so doing a little bit of that on the side. But excited for this weekend. We're going to the beach, so we're going to do a little surf fishing and hopefully relax a little bit. Got a little bit of work to do on the house, and then so it'll be good to get toes in the sand, even though it's going to be a little chilly, but see if we can catch some fish out of the surf. So I'm excited about that.
Absolutely. Yeah. A week ago today actually was my son Henry's second birthday. And so I had a late shift at work. I was 10 to 6. So we took him out for breakfast that morning, and I took him fishing between breakfast and daycare. And Henry caught his first fish, and I was super stoked about that. Little bluegill, he was super stoked. And I took a video of him because, I was expecting like a lot of kids, whenever they catch their first fish, like they reach out for him and then like it moves for the first time and they're like, oh no, I'm done. But he grabbed a hold of it and it's like, whoa, there's still a hook in it, buddy. So I handed him the fish to release it and told him to put it back in the water, and he released it on his own.
That's cool.
I'm so glad that the fish made it in the water because he spiked it like a football. But
that's bluegill are tough.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it was that was awesome. He's been excited about it ever since. He asked earlier this week to go again, and I took him again. And of course, the wind was blowing like 30 miles an hour, so I think he made it 3 casts in, and he was like, nope, I want to go play on the playground. It's like, all right, let's go play on the playground. But yeah, he's super excited about it. And I'm even more super excited about it now. So for sure. And it was a good birthday for him. So
heck yeah. I enjoyed seeing the little video of it. So it was cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Sent it out to a bunch of different people, but, so let's, if you don't have any more housekeeping things, I don't really have anything either. So let's thank a couple sponsors, and then let's get our guest in here.
Sounds good.
If a fly rod is your weapon of choice, check out Atollas. Their Fly Caddy is the most convenient way to get your favorite flies to the water, or just keep them handy by clipping it to your hat, truck visor, backpack, rod case, or just whatever. You can also bundle it up with flies from independent fly tires that Atollas has teamed up with through their Fly Light project. Choose from bundles specializing in redfish, carp, saltwater, or freshwater. Head over to atollas.co, that's ATOLLAS.co, to get your Fly Caddy today and use promo code FaithinFish15 to save 15% on your order. That's Faith the letter N, Fish the number 15 at checkout for 15% off.
A huge selection and crazy fast shipping is already enough to turn heads as an online tackle shop, but Omnia Fishing sets themselves apart with their ambassador program. With Omnia, you can send in fishing reports for your local lakes that recommend baits, structure, tactics, and gear. And when another angler takes your advice and purchases something from your report, you get credit for it to spend at Omnia. The best part means that with Omnia Fishing, you can shop by lake and purchase baits and gear that are proven to work where you're fishing. To get started, go to omniafishing.com and use promo code FNF15 to save 15% on your first order.
All right, so this episode we're welcoming back Mr. Nicholas Beltran. He is of Tackle Fishing Adventures, and y'all surprised me last time we had him on. I'll be honest with you, I was really nervous whenever this one aired, because it was the first episode I had that was not. The guest was not, he did not identify as Christian. We didn't talk a lot about the faith or religion and everything. And y'all loved it. Y'all reached out. It was the first episode that aired that I had a lot of feedback from y'all telling me how good of an episode it was. So we are bringing back fan favorite, Nicholas Beltran. Nicholas, man, welcome back.
Guys. What's up, Robert? What's up, Cam?
What's up? No pressure after that introduction.
Hey, to each his own, man. I'm not going to sit here and tell everybody how to live their lives.
No, I just meant it because he got so much feedback last time and how good it was. That's we got to follow that up.
Wow.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know how you're going to beat the original. That was the original interview. But, I'm just glad to be here. I'm glad that you guys have jumped up you guys' idea in the podcast. I mean, I see you guys have now even a banner in the back. This is great. Now video. We couldn't see a face, so now
for sure,
we're able to see this mug. Whatever this is.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, Nicholas, if there's anybody who's listening who has not heard the last episode, has not followed your adventures already,
right.
Go ahead and introduce yourself and let us know who you are, man.
Well, man, like you said, Nicholas Beltran here. I started a YouTube channel a couple years ago. I've been fishing all my life. Tackle Fishing Adventures is the YouTube. Pretty much everything else is at tacklefishing.com. And not .com. I'm sorry. It's late, man. It's late. Tackle Fishing Adventures, and then that's the handle for all my other social media outlets. Basically, man, I started out on this YouTube excursion recently, and it's just been, it helps me advertise what I like, the passion, and helps share it with others. I do have a bonus, that the fact that I fish all these exotic fish down here, and most of you northern guys are like always interested in that content and seeing how that part of it is interesting to you guys. So I don't mind sharing it. It's my life, and it's what I do when I go out doing my passion. So basically I have that. I have, I've been getting really into TikTok lately, learning how to deal with the social media aspect of this, and got on board on a kayak with Kwanzaa Henderson, rest in peace. He was a really good guy, a good mentor. He showed me ins and outs, not of fishing, but mostly of kayaking, and he convinced me and my father to kind of like try out the plastic boat arena, and ever since then I've just been hooked, man. And obviously it inspired me to share it on YouTube and to have enough confidence and space to show you guys basically what I love now, and that's fishing off a kayak. So
absolutely. So Robert, how does it feel to be called a northern guy, man?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, I mean,
you're in Miami, so we'll let it slide.
Yeah, well, we are north of him, so
well,
we are
south.
North,
what's next?
Yeah, North Carolina, so we are North Carolina. So,
man,
yeah,
Robert, I know my compass, man. I know my compass. Dude. I'm a Cuban, dude. This is built in me. I need to know where I'm going.
The last little bit, it felt like we were a little bit south, and then today it turned back off pretty chilly. I had to scrape windshields again this morning, so I did not like that. I'm ready to be, 75, 80, and not have these cold snaps, which I know that there's some people listening that are probably still can't get on the water because it's frozen. So at least we're just talking about frost on the windshields, not the lake still being frozen. So
right.
Oh, yeah, look at the positives. But I feel so fortunate for those guys, man. I'm good friends with Mike McKinstry, and I don't know if you guys know who that is, but he texts me and we talk back and forth, and he's always dealing with that up there, and he has to do a show, so it's like, yeah, I can imagine how tough it is for him to do all that stuff. But I look at all you guys' posts. When I say all you guys, I mean northern guys.
Yeah.
But I feel bad. I feel terrible because I'm down here in a place that it's like summer all year round, and it's a joy. You got to come down here, Robert. You got to come down and catch a peacock.
I'm going to take you up on that, so I will
be more than happy.
Yep.
I've been saying it for a couple of years, but I will too.
Yep.
But let's talk about that for a second. So you look at, I would say at least 80% of people who live, north of Orlando, or Orlando and up. You ask them what fish is on their bucket list. And if they have not caught one yet, you can at least 85% of them are going to mention the peacock bass. Okay. And you get the privilege of fishing for these guys on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. What is it about the peacock that makes it so special?
Acrobatics. They jump and they make a scene, and it's just eye-appealing to those who catch it. I think for myself, the best trait that they have is just their beauty. It's a beautiful fish. I mean, you look at it and it's just, you're at awe. I think that's one of the things that I hear a lot is, man, what a beautiful fish, But what they don't know and they don't realize is that when they actually hook up on one of these peacocks, there's nothing like it. I mean, I'm semi saltwater fisherman myself, and I could tell you right now, and this is not an over exaggeration, but to me, my favorite saltwater fish is a tarpon. And obviously, we're not talking about size here, but we're talking about just the sheer excitement you get when you're catching one and what they do jumping out in the water or coming back in. And it's just the whole experience of catching it that makes you want to go back and catch them again. But like I told Robert a little while ago, that even though peacock is one of the things I'm known for, I guess, here, and what Miami's known for here, my favorite fish to go out and catch is the largemouth. And I think I've mentioned that in the last interview. And people shocked. They're like, "Are you serious? Like you have peacocks in the backyard and you want to go hunt for largemouth?" But what they don't understand is that because of that peacock, that's more of like the alpha down here. They shy away from that bite. So it's truly really difficult to catch a bass down here, largemouth, especially in a very heavy pressured exotic area that we have down here. So it's fun. It's fun. I feel like it's tougher to catch a largemouth down here than it is a peacock. But then again, I'm experienced. I've been down here all my life. So for those that I've taken out, it's been really difficult for them to catch a peacock. They're always the ones catching largemouths. It's a fun, cool experience. But yeah, man, I'm fortunate to have them down here.
That's awesome. Yeah. So, I grew up keeping fish in aquarium, And I've had a lot of different species of cichlids, which is the family that the peacock bass belongs to. And
Learning.
very, very few families of fish have the attitude that cichlids have. And that's why I've always loved cichlids, is just because they just have an attitude, and
they're very aggressive fish. And I think it has a lot to do with the fact that their cousins live down in the Amazon, and in those southern waters, there's those exotic fish are everywhere, and those aggressive fish are everywhere. So they have to compete amongst a bunch of other species that have that same trait. So, and they get huge. Those peacock bass down there get huge. If you've never seen a video, I recommend you guys go to YouTube, and I'm sure you probably have. And the size don't even compare to any of them that we have down here, but they do get enormous over there. I mean, 30 inches more. You know, they get pretty big over there. And they use plugs about the size of my arm to catch them. So, and that's one of my dream trips.
Heck yeah, man.
Yeah.
Heck yes. All right, so we wanted to touch on the faith side of things a little bit too. You know, last time you were on, you said, I believe the way you put it was that your family was your religion. And
Right.
I have been kicking myself ever since that I did not ask you to expand on that. So this episode, I wanted to give you a chance to expand on that. Tell us what you meant by that, and what your family means to you, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I just to start off by saying is that I respect everybody's view on their worldview, how they got here, how they're going to leave from here. And this, I've had conversations a lot with a lot of my coworkers at work and a bunch of other places, because, you know, it is the majority that are religious and that have their views on their so-called God and all that stuff. But I grew up with a mind that just has me intellectually thinking, always asking questions, always doubting myself, always doubting things. And I think it just has to do with the fact that our generation is just moving forward in trying to explain things and actually find the actual source and fact on explaining those things. But besides that, let's get out of that. What I do find as a definition of religion is something that you prescribe to, something that you find solace being part of, or having the idea of. To me, that's family. To me, that's what I've been doing for the past couple of years, that I've been doing very heavily, and that's fishing and finding that niche in my life that allows me to feel like I'm comfortable. This is where my place is, and that all has to do with the adaptation of me growing up in a place where fishing is just, I mean, you can't get away from that here in South Florida, and we have it all around me. You know what I mean? I was just brought up in it. I have a lot of questions, and those questions don't allow me to. And my ego is not allowing me to say, okay, well, it's just this one thing. I've learned a lot. I lived at a very young age, fighting the real world, so-called real world outside, living on my own and trying to tackle these difficult things that many people would view as difficult, and trying to keep my head up and continue to go to school, continue to do the right thing, and all this without any connection to God or any connection to any golden rule, nothing. It's just pure emotion, pure feedback from what other people have done to me, or what other situations have I been affected to, what I've learned from those things. And life is very simple. A lot of people put it, they over exaggerate it, and life is very simple. When you're young and they tell you not to put your finger on the stove, and you, as a normal child with the curiosity, put your finger on that burner and you get burned, that's how the learning process happens. And not to that extent all the time, but that's how I've lived my life. Unfortunately, I've lived my life in a way where I've had to hit walls to actually learn something. And I feel, in my opinion, that's the best experience you can get, best background experience you can get, knowing something. But then again, at the end of the day, like I told you, I think in the podcast that we had, was that nobody really knows these answers, and I feel like as a society or civilization, humans, us, we're learning that as we go, and time will tell. So as time passes by, our progress starts happening, and it's just the fact of life where every 10 years we're learning new things, we're adapting to those new things, and we just got to enjoy our life and live it for us, not for everybody else. Live it for today. Forget about tomorrow, because that already happened. Try to prepare yourself, but not to the point where you're dying for tomorrow, and just live in the moment. And that's what I've been trying to do, trying to raise my son to do, and my wife does agree with my point of view, and that's why we bond so much. And I think that's the most important thing, is that family connection, that family bond. We cannot all do this by ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Rome wasn't built by just one person. So you gotta keep yourself humble. That's all. Basically.
Absolutely. I've spent a lot of time in my life feeling like, or at least, convincing myself that I'm the smartest person in the room. And every time I have a conversation with Nicholas, I'm reminded that I'm not the smartest person in this room.
Well, I mean,
such a wise guy.
That's the problem. I think many. I'm sorry, Cam, to cut you off. But that's. I think that's many. And this is opinion. I guess we're in a very driven opinion time of our lives right now, because we have these objects and tools to allow other people to hear these opinions. So. But this is my opinion. I will reinstate that. Basically, what it is, it's ego. It's if you're taught from a very young kid, and you get indoctrinated with the idea that we'll be forgiven for all our mistakes, and not really understand the cost of those mistakes, and sit back and think, okay, how can I prevent that from happening? Not going through it and actually having it happen with the mentality of, oh, I'm going to get forgiven for this. You understand? So a lot of folks have that in their minds. They're grown up with that. So they think that, okay, well, I'm going to try to do as much as possible to try to ruin the other guy, because I know that I'm going to get forgiven afterwards. So it's that safety net that I feel that a lot of people live through or live by. And that safety net on its own bears those fruits of, okay, well, I can do this and make the mistake, but then I will be redeemed for it. And again, the ego tells you, hey, I got to do better than my partner. And that's not a good way to live your life. Definitely not a good way to live your life.
And I'll be so bold as to say that if you're living with that particular safety net, I'm going to warn you that it's not attached to anything on the four corners. So don't trust that kind of safety net too hard.
Yeah.
It's just like what you said. I mean, when you think, that's when you're wrong. That's when I, like a person that I've had friends in the past, I have to put my finger in and be like, hey, listen, there's other people that have it worse than you. People right now, we have the privilege of the electronic system we have right now, and the AC in the house that we're living in right now. We have these boats, these kayaks. We have kids that we can support. There's people out there in other countries that don't have not even a % of it. So and that's what I meant by me being humbled and being level-minded, is that I don't let anything pressure me to think that I'm better than my fellow man. Once you start that route, then you're just starting a dictatorship in your mind, and that dictatorship will lead to others, and that would be a virus worse than COVID, and worse than any other virus that we've encountered. And peace and happiness and all the things that you read in the scriptures and in the books and all the other holy books that are trying to prescribe to it, I don't think that that's going to lead you to think that. I think it's a perspective thing. It's how you were raised. It's how you get your butt out there in the streets and actually learn these things. You know what I mean? You're going to get that on Sunday all the time. So,
For sure.
yeah, man.
Yeah, so let's
Sorry if I hit it hard. I'm sorry if I'm going too deep.
No, you're good.
we like
You're good. I mean, really, everything that a lot of the things that you say, honestly, is very similar to a lot of believers as well, because I don't think that just because you believe one way or the other, I'm a believer and a follower of Christ, but that doesn't mean I don't have doubts about how everything works. I think everybody that follows Christ, you still have some doubt, even though we put our trust that we're going to be saved, And the other thing that you touched on, that, it's all about family, and that's really huge in my life too. And I think when I think about my family, it is about my immediate family, but I also think that God is part of my family as well. And so it's really basically the same thing, but I just, there is a father and a God that he's a part of our family as well, but I still have that same feeling that, that you do, like that family is super important. And that's what
Absolutely.
And especially,
all I say, Rob, I'm sorry to interrupt you. All I say is that, I'm so glad that we live in a country that we have that freedom to believe.
Oh, heck yeah.
Believe. I mean, this is one of the reasons why I will and always wave that flag very prideful and value the values we have in this country. And that is
absolutely,
you believe whatever you want, whatever keeps you in the light, that's what you need to do. And but if you think about it, based on what you said, all I'm saying is that without even having that prescription with the Lord or with any other outer connection, yet I continue to have that, how can I put it to you? To continue to have that level-headedness and that belief in I could still do good without having any strings attached to me.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So some people need the father figure. Some people don't need the father figure. Some people, but then again, I'm not here to judge. And that's something I know that it is prescribed. It is something that you find in the Bible and all that stuff. But, I learned through by sitting back and observing everything that's in front of me. I know that not a lot of people have that ability to do that or were raised up to do that. But I'm one of those guys that I keep my mouth shut. I look at everything before I put any word in it, and I really try not to put a word in it. But when I do, it's based off of what I'm seeing 100%, not just going by quick emotion by the first thing that is being said or being done. So, to what you're saying, it's
Oh yeah.
Cool. Positive, as long as you do the things that will help and benefit not just yourself, but to help and benefit everybody around you, you're good. So that's all I would say about that.
Awesome. Well, I also wanted to have you kind of get us caught up on tackle fishing adventures since you were last on the show. I mean,
right.
It's
so
been
I gotta apologize, and I'll apologize here. I'll apologize here. I'm sorry, I get you very late, so I apologize. I've moved on. I don't know many people who have been following me on YouTube. I've been lucky enough, fortunate enough, and honored enough to be part of these companies. Maybe in the beginning level of them, but I'm just so glad I've been part of them. And ever since I started this YouTube thing and gotten some traction with the trail that I was on with Randy Newton, actually here in Florida, trail, Sunshine State Trail that we had here. He taught me how to go out and use that marketing bug. And the first time I went to ICAST, I went ICAST with him. So I learned how to talk to people, to talk to companies, and to, in a way, kind of express my passion of what I'm doing and allow these companies to help me and I help them. So in doing that, I've built up a kind of a reputation, and a lot of these companies have seen that. And I always thank them every time. I'm one of those guys that every month I'm always sending them a message. Hey guys, you guys are doing a great job. I follow them all the time, obviously, right? And to let them know that in their end, I know that they're working very hard, because I come from a business kind of background too, where I know even for the smallest business out there, I know how tough it is to first maintain a business, second, go through all these crises with those businesses, and three, have a business that has to deal with hobbies. Okay, those are 2, 3. It's very, very tough, and to share that with them, I think they've reacted towards me as a person that's really loyal and very respectful about the pro side of it, or the business side of it. And ever since I've been doing that, I've just been focusing on trying to keep my relationship back and forth with them, and do what I need to do, the obligations I need to do to be part of the teams. And ever since I've been doing that, I've been really, really lazied out on my YouTube channels, which is ironic, because it's something I really should use as a platform to grow, not just the product, but to grow myself. But it's a lot of hard work. I'm not going to throw any excuses out there. It's a lot of hard work. I work 5 days a week. I work at a hospital. I'm raising my son. I'm sure there's others who are raising more, so it's not an excuse again. But it's tough. And I'm right now, I'm at a position right now where everything's hitting me at once, and I'm trying to balance out everything and try to make this passion of mine not an obligation as much as a fun thing to do, and something I can do and still share time with my family. So, and that's a tough thing on itself to do. So
absolutely,
I'm in that right now. And also what I'm doing is I'm trying to learn as much as I can, because I have no goal in this. I honestly don't. I talk to a lot of people, and I know there's motivational speakers that say, dude, you got to start with a goal. If you don't have a goal, you can't accomplish anything. But I'm at a point in my life that I really do appreciate everything that gets thrown at me. I lived alone. I know how to hustle by myself. I lived in efficiency for a long period of time. I've jump-started my life, and I love my family to death. I love my parents to death. But I've done it with my own decisions, and I've made those decisions, and I've paid for those decisions. But I've also learned from those decisions, and in doing that, I'm trying to gather things at the same time as I'm loving this fishing side of it. So the more I learn on that side, the more I get more advantage to go out there and fish and actually do what I like. So it's that.
Absolutely, man. I know listeners are probably tired of me mentioning it, but I went through something similar with the podcast, with wanting to make sure, like, getting to the point where it was more of an obligation. It wasn't as fun for me. I also am one. I'm doing this. I don't have a goal, but something that I'm sorry.
You feel good doing it, and that's
right.
Something I probably missed what I said.
But for me, it's not about a goal. It's about a why. And so one of the things that I was doing at the time was I had all of these different segments on the show where really what I was doing was I was making the show about me, and the why behind the show was always about the guests, letting the guests come on, share their story, making it all about the guests. So whenever I took those segments away and got back to what it was supposed to be about and got back to my why, that's whenever it started flourishing again. I started really enjoying it again. So yeah, I definitely, let me see where you're coming from there, man. Let's see, you've already answered that question.
Well, I gotta say this. I'm proud. Again, I'm gonna repeat myself from the beginning of this. I'm proud of you and what you've done. I mean, a lot of people don't really realize that goes for both of you guys. They don't realize the effort. It's 9:00 right now, and it should be time for us to be laying down. But you're here trying to, and the way I see it is this: you are reaching out to others by doing this to show them, hey, this has a meaning to it. This is part of my life. This is part of my passion. I'm sharing it with others. And it's hard work to do that. It really is. So not just appreciating on my end because you're having me as a guest, and it's welcoming, but you've grown. I've seen it. You've grown ever since our meeting the first time, but hoots to that, man.
Well, thank you so much, man. That means a lot to us for sure.
No problem. I did a couple of these podcasts with Randy when we first started that trail, and I was nervous. I was so nervous to be on the camera. Randy would have to put me on the side and be like, "Hey, dude, you need to you're turning red and you have you're sweating, dude." I'm like, "Yeah, but I'm in my garage, bro, and it's hot and I don't have an air conditioner." But anyway, yeah, that's how I started with him, and he gave me that. He pushed me out there and said, "Hey, you're gonna be my partner in this, and and all I needed was that motivation to get me where I'm at. And you didn't do that till now, but you're doing great."
Awesome. Well, thank you, man. And I will say, listeners, if you want to know more about Nicholas, make sure you check out his episodes where he's been on the Paddle and Fin podcast, as well as others. He's always someone who he likes to go deep in his conversations, and he
try not to.
And there's always some really, really good conversations that come out of having him just around. Like, you just listen to the Paddle and Fin podcast, and you're always hearing comments and questions that Nicholas comes up with, and it's awesome. But so we are going to dive into. We've got another version of What's Your Favorite for you.
Okay.
So we've got some new questions for you. Robert, I'm gonna text them to just to make sure that you've got them. But let's dive into that right after this. Few things ruin your day on the water as bad as losing gear. But with the retrieval devices for fishing rods, action cams, bow fishing bows, and more from Save Your Outdoors, you don't have to let dropping your stuff ruin your day because you can get it back. The pressure-sensitive filter keeps water from rain and quick dips in the water out, but it lets water in when your gear goes overboard to release a float attached to your gear by 60 feet of line so you can get it back. Go to SaveYourOutdoors.com to learn more and try some for yourself, and use promo code FNFP15 to save 15% on your order. That's SaveYourOutdoors.com and promo code FNFP15. If finesse fishing is your comfort zone, something you want to learn better this year, or just something you like to tie on as a Hail Mary pass, Jade's Jigs has everything you need and more, and it's all eco-friendly and lead-free. With an awesome selection of baits and colors, they've got a variety of techniques covered for you. Finesse jigs, underspins, Nico weights, Ned rigs, and more are all waiting for you at jadesjigs.com. And while you're there, use promo code FNF10 for 10% off your purchase. That's jadesjigs.com and promo code FNF10 for 10% off. All right. Every time I think we get past those technical difficulties, they come right back. I clicked on it once, nothing happened. I clicked on it again, nothing happened. I clicked on it the third time, it came on, it faded out. I have no clue what happened, but we will eventually get those figured out. I promise.
Cool.
But yeah, so Nicholas, we are going to dive back into what's your favorite. I know in our previous episode you mentioned you've read a lot of different religious texts. So I'm going to ask your favorite character from the Bible.
Favorite character in the Bible. Would you hate me if I say Jesus?
No, not at all.
I enjoy Jesus. He's the hero of he's the hero of the comic strip. So for me, Jesus.
Awesome.
Right?
Absolutely. And I want to say, I'll double check to make sure, but if you are someone who likes to read in a comic book format, check out the Adventure Bible. I'll double check to make sure that's what it is, but it's literally the Bible in a
comic form,
in a comic book format, and it is very well done. I'll double check to make sure that's what it is, but
right.
Robert, you get the next one.
Yeah. So favorite time of the day to fish?
Ooh, I'm a nighttime guy. If I had to say my favorite.
Nighttime.
Okay. Does that go for the exotics or largemouth or all of the above?
So the exotics down here, they shut off at night. That's where it allows me to catch those big hogs.
Nice. For sure.
Yeah.
And just a quick correction, that is the Action Bible, not the Adventure Bible. The Adventure Bible is the kids version, but the Action Bible is that comic book style, graphic novel style Bible. It's pretty awesome. All right, your favorite lure color?
Your lure color, silver and black. I mean, what would that be named as? Like a Rapala. Remember the minnows? What was that color? Silver, right? I mean,
yeah,
it was just silver minnow. Anything with a black top, silver. Anything flashy. That's basically what I like to use if I'm like desperate and I need something. The exotics mostly, but that's my favorite.
Awesome.
I'm a match the hatch guy, so I'm not. That's why I'm not so picky so much. Because down here, the bait are all pretty much the same. So silver and black is something that's a general color I can get away with all the time.
Yeah,
absolutely, man.
Or black.
What about favorite pizza topping?
Favorite pizza topping? Ooh, man. Favorite pizza topping. I'm a veggie guy, so I like anything with veggies on it. Mushrooms, peppers, banana peppers, if anything. I love that.
Banana
boy, can I eat right now a Hawaiian pizza right now would be great.
The Hawaiian is my favorite, but I tell you what, the banana peppers on a pizza, that's some good stuff.
That's a heartburn way of a good time, I tell you that much.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
All right. Now, I know the answer to this next one because of our time doing the Savior blog, but your favorite TV show of all time?
Office, man. Come on. Come on, Dwight. The Office. I pretty much raised with that show. I think it's still like the top show right now. Everybody watches so.
Yeah, The Office is a really solid pick. And if y'all, anybody who's listening, if you were a diehard Office fan, check out the Office Ladies podcast. Jenna Fisher, who played Pam, and Angela Kinsey, who played Angela, they're best friends, and they go episode by episode and break down each episode.
You know what? I'm going to change it up, Cam. I'm going to do something different. And because I'm a diehard Star Wars fan, these now shows are coming out, and I love them, addicted to them. I have been just waiting for the next Mandalorian season episode to come out, so that's probably my new update to the shows.
Okay. So of the new ones, would you say that Mandalorian's your favorite, or does one of the other ones take it?
As far as the show or the character?
The shows.
The shows? Ooh, you know what? I really enjoyed the Boba Fett. That one episode where we see Luke. That one episode really did well for me. He's showing Grogu, or he's teaching Grogu the Jedi side. So yeah, that was probably my favorite out of all of them.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
Boba Fett again was great.
For sure. Yeah. Robert, you look lost. Are you a Star Wars person?
No, I saw the light in your face.
not really, but my older son is, and we spent a lot of time at Disney in the Star Wars area. Mm-hmm. So I'm familiar with everything you're talking about. I just never. I mean, I've seen them, but I don't know. Just never got into it.
You're not a sci-fi guy?
Nah.
Never been.
That's fair.
No.
That's fair.
I mean, I like The Walking Dead. I mean, that's about as sci-fi as I get. I mean, that's a good show.
Yeah. I gotta get into that one.
All right. Well,
but anyway, it was good. It was nice talking to you guys. It was nice meeting you there, Robert.
Yes, sir. You too.
Once again, guys, I had a wonderful time on here. I feel like this type of platform is what we need. We need more of these platforms to get us anglers talking about new ideas and the passion we have, and for you guys, your faith and whatever keeps you guys grounded and living life positive and loving life. That's what you got to do.
absolutely, man. And
All right, man.
real quick, if you want to shout out sponsors, plug socials, all that good stuff.
Yak Attack, Wilderness Systems Cax, which I've been really loving for the past couple 2 years now. Savior Outdoors. I mean, anything that's, and I've told you this before. Any company that comes out with something that's insurance based for any of what we use, I enjoy them. NRS, I'm not sponsored by them, but I mean, I love the PFD. And now so much more with that video that came out viral with that gentleman, the athlete that got stuck underneath the bridge in the storm, and that PFD, and also the road fishing that I'm actually sponsored by. Road fishing, those leashes are a wonderful idea to keep everything. It's actually saved his life. So, man, I have a couple more, but realistically speaking, man, I appreciate being on here, and they know that I appreciate them. I appreciate fishing, the fact that we can do it.
There you go.
All right, man.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on this show, coming back on this show,
Of course.
and having some awesome conversation with us, man.
Heck yeah.
Mr. B Lure Company is making high-quality, handcrafted lures and has been for 30 years, right here in the U.S. Using all-metal components, Owner and Gamakatsu hooks, and silicone or frog hair skirts, Mr. B is pumping out some awesome spinner baits, jigs, buzz baits, underspins, and more, including some of the most unique bladed jigs on the market. To fill up your tackle box, go to MrBLureCompany.com, that's MRBLureCompany.com, and use promo code FaithandFishingPod1X10 at checkout to save 10% on your first order. That's Faith the letter N, Fish the letter N, P-O-D, so Faith and Fishing Pod, just like our Instagram handle, 1X10.
Get Outdoors Pedal and Paddle is one of the largest canoe, kayak, and cycling retailers in the Southeast, with a huge selection of kayaks, canoes, bikes, and all the accessories needed to experience paddling and cycling comfortably and safely. Get Outdoors helps to expand and educate the paddling community through their free demos held on local lakes in the Greensboro, North Carolina area, and through in-store clinics and on-the-water courses and demos. And we'll even get your new boat rigged up for kayak fishing for you. Stop by the shop in Greensboro, North Carolina, or check out shopgetoutdoors.com to be wowed by their selection.
All right. Well, thank you again to Nicholas for coming back on the show and talking with us and getting caught up with us. As usual, all of his links will be in the show notes so that you can follow along with Tackle Fishing Adventures. Robert, what'd you think of this one, man?
Oh, yeah, I enjoyed it. It's always interesting to me to hear different viewpoints, and I think that makes everybody, has their own beliefs, and even believers in Christ. I don't think everybody, has the same belief system. Even the followers of Christ, I think there's so many different things to think about. That it's nice to hear, how his viewpoints are, and it makes you think, and it makes you appreciate whatever your viewpoint is, maybe a little more.
Absolutely. All right, man. Well, did you have anything to add to this one?
Oh, man, I'm good to go.
All right, man. Well, will you close us out in prayer? We did this last episode, and we both were like, I like this. We're going to keep this going. So if you want to close us out in prayer and then close us out, man, go for it.
Sounds good. Dear Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for allowing us to put this podcast out and to have our different guests on there. And to live in a place where we can express our beliefs. And please help us this week and give us the strength to let our words and actions bring people closer to you, and forgive us of our sins. In Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Yeah, well, that'll do it for this week. You guys tune in next week for a new episode.
Thank you for listening to the Faith and Fishing podcast. Faith and Fishing is produced and hosted by Cam Steele and Robert Randolph, and is sponsored by Savior Outdoors, Jay's Jigs, Get Outdoors Pedal and Paddle, Mr. B Lure Company, Atollas, and Omnia Fishing. Don't forget to join the Facebook community, follow us on Instagram, and subscribe, rate, and review us on whatever app you're listening on. That's going to do it for this episode. Y'all take care, and God bless.